reaching 50 goals is huge, not only because, it's something that not a lot of players do over the course of the season, but also because it's kind of a slap to everybody in the face who ever underestimated him. So
all right, welcome back to the Peanut Gallery podcast. If you're a hockey fan, buckle up because we have an absolutely loaded show tonight. We've got playoff spots being punched left and right. Vegas, Boston, Edmonton, and Utah all clinched last night. And Detroit went from the top of the Atlantic in January to holding the longest active playoff drought in the league. We're going to talk about how that collapse happens. Cole Caufield just joined an elite club, 50 goals, all with a goalie in the net for the first time in Montreal since 1990. We'll get into what that means for a guy who's been doubted his whole career. The Frozen Four is done. Denver takes it all again, and there's a college free agent signing that should have Colorado fans very excited. Oh, and stick around because the goalie coach of the Coachella Firebirds got a start last night, not making that up. And lastly, we have a Masters champion. That's episode 28. Let's get into it. Hello, Mackenzie.
hello.
How are you?
My throat's a little sore, but I'm okay.
I'm sorry, buddy. Hey, so let's start off with the Masters. We have a new champion.
We do not have a new champion.
He's not a new champion. He's actually a repeat champion, Rory McIlroy. He became the fourth player to win back-to-back, joining an elite list with Jack Nicklaus, Sir Nick Faldo, Mr. Tiger Woods, and, of course, Rory McIlroy. So congratulations, Rory. It was a really good match, and he led the field on Thursday, Friday, went back and forth on Saturday, and he closed off today. So it was a really good tournament. You have anything to say about that?
Not really, but congratulations, Rory McIlroy.
All right.
If I were to choose anybody to win, I would have chosen him. Or hot take, but Bryson DeChambeau. A lot of people hate that guy, but I think he's hilarious. But anyway.
Yeah, he's warming up to me, but still, I'm still not a fan.
He's so funny.
Huh?
He's so funny.
He is funny, and I think he's gained a lot of fans in by doing his YouTube channel stuff, which he shows his true self, which is great. He's a human, but still, he's still hard to like. So, but tonight belonged to Rory, and Rory did a great job winning, and he's the master champion. So let's talk about the playoff picture update, MC. So 6 more teams clinched playoff berths. What do you got to say about that?
Yeah, so that was a big weekend. The closer we get to the playoffs, which start this upcoming Saturday, the more teams are going to clinch. So we had 6 teams clinch playoff berth this week, or since the last podcast. The Pittsburgh Penguins were one of them, which is huge for them considering the fact that they almost lost Sidney Crosby last year, and now they're going back to the playoffs. It has not been that long since they were there. The last time was 2022, but it's okay. They clinched on April 9th after a 4-1 win over New Jersey. They locked in the number 2 seed in the Metro 2, which secures home ice advantage for them through the first round at least. And they are set to play the Philadelphia Flyers as of today. The second team that clinched was the Ottawa Senators, which I'm not super thrilled about. I'm not going to lie, I'm not a huge fan of that team. So I didn't really have a reason to want to see them in the playoffs. But they clinched on April 11th following their 3-0 win against the Islanders and the Red Wings loss against the Devils. Brady Tkachuk was hurt in yesterday's game, so there are no updates so far. But I'm curious to see how long he'll be out considering playoff starts in a week. And they're set to play the Buffalo Sabres as of today. The third team to clinch was the Boston Bruins, which kind of shocked me. I did not know they were going to. If you had asked me at the beginning of the season, I would have said they would not be making the playoffs this year. But they clinched yesterday despite a 2-1 loss to the Tampa Bay Lightning due to the Red Wings losing against the Devils. So the Red Wings sent a lot of people to the playoffs yesterday, and they are set to play Carolina as of today. The fourth team to clinch was the Vegas Golden Knights. Again, not happy about that because I don't like them, but they clinched yesterday after a 3-2 overtime win against Colorado, and they are set to play Utah as of today. The fifth team to clinch, unfortunately, the Edmonton Oilers, or as I like to call them, the Edmonton Soilers. They clinched yesterday despite a 1-0 loss to the Los Angeles Kings because the Flyers beat the Jets 7-1. It is their 7th consecutive playoff appearance, which just makes my eye twitch every time I think about it because they are not going to finish above 100 points. The Western Conference was so bad this year. There was such a disconnect between good teams and bad teams. Playoff teams are making it into the playoffs barely having broken 90 points. Like, that's not anyway. But they're set to play the Anaheim Ducks as of today. So if that's the case, I hope Anaheim kicks their butts and knocks them out of the first round. The final team that clinched was the Utah Mammoth. They clinched on April 9th following a 4-1 win against Nashville. It's their first playoff appearance in franchise history. And prior to that, even when they were the Arizona Coyotes, they didn't see the playoffs very often. So it's really good for them. And they are set to play the Vegas Golden Knights as of right now.
Nice. Yeah, I was surprised that Ottawa Senators made it.
It's just the Eastern Conference wasn't strong enough to, I don't know. But
so what was the average points in Eastern Conference? Do you remember?
the average points in the Eastern Conference,
Yes.
well, the season's not done yet.
Okay, so far.
Okay, so far, the average amount of points in the Eastern Conference right now is about 95, 96.
Oh, wow.
But the highest is 110. The Carolina Hurricanes have 110.
Nice.
The average of the Western Conference is 84, 83, 84.
Oh my goodness.
There are 3 teams above 100 points in the Western Conference. It's Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota. All 3 of those are in the Central. Everybody else, the highest is 91 points, and that's Vegas. So Edmonton has 2 games left. If they win both games, they will get to 94 points, and that's how they're going into playoffs. It's really just so bad. Like it's sad.
So I think out of all these playoff winners that you named, the matchups, the best matchup I'm looking forward to watching is Pittsburgh and Philadelphia.
If that's a thing. Philadelphia has not clinched their spot yet.
Oh, they haven't?
No.
Okay.
No.
But if the season ended today, they would be
yes.
playing. I got you.
Yeah. There's one set matchup, and it's Dallas, Minnesota. They are going to play each other no matter what. So,
nice.
Unfortunately for Minnesota. Anyway,
yeah.
5 more teams have been eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit got eliminated yesterday following a shocking 5-3 loss to New Jersey. And they now that Buffalo has secured, they're very comfortably sitting in their spot at the top of the Atlantic. They hold the longest playoff drought, 10 seasons. It's actually really sad because, well, it's not sad. I don't like Detroit, but at the beginning of this year, 2026, they were at the top of the Atlantic, 69 points. And their fall off needs to be studied because they are now out of playoff contention. And teams that weren't expected to touch the playoffs are now sitting at the top. So sad for them. New Jersey officially eliminated. Everyone saw that coming. They lost 5-1 against Philadelphia. The stars aligned for them to get eliminated. The odds of them losing to Philadelphia and Ottawa beating the Tampa Bay Lightning on Tuesday were super low, but that was what was needed in order for them to get eliminated. It happened. So anyway, they were eliminated. It's fine. I don't care. They need to walk off the season anyway. Luke Hughes and Drake Markstrom have both been shut down for the season. Luke had a shoulder injury at the beginning of this calendar year, sat out through the Olympic break and then came back. But since the season's over, they're going to shut him down, give him his second shoulder surgery. So both Hughes brothers have had 2 shoulder surgeries in less than 24 months. For Jack, it was less than 12 months. So they're both expected to be back fully for training camp in August. Third team to be eliminated, St. Louis. They were eliminated yesterday following a 1-0 following the Los Angeles Kings 1-0 victory over Edmonton. Their issue this season was goaltending. They had a promising season last season, promising first round, and then the Winnipeg Jets came back, scored 3 goals with less than a minute left in the game, beating them in Game 7. But overall, Jordan Bennington just wasn't what he was cut out to be this season. And Joel Hofer, as much as I love that guy, he's not a starter. And so when your starter is suffering and your backup can't start, it's hard to make the playoffs. So hopefully whatever they need to do does, because I have a soft spot for St. Louis. I don't know why. Fourth team was Seattle. They were so close. They looked like they were going to make the playoffs a couple
I
times this
was so
season.
surprised at that too, because I thought they were for sure they had it locked in.
But as we'll talk about later, they had a couple of injuries at the end of the season,
Uh,
critical injuries, and unfortunately they just fell off. It's the third straight season that they've missed the playoffs, and they've only been a team since 2021. So their odds are not great. The final team to be eliminated were the Calgary Flames. They were eliminated on April 8th following a 4-3 overtime loss to the Dallas Stars, and this is their fourth straight season without contention, but they've been close for the last 2 seasons. And considering the fact that they were at the bottom of the league just a couple months ago, it's shocking that they made it this far.
okay, so let's talk about the clinching scenarios before we get to the other topic. What are your thoughts on that? Who do you think is going to be clinching?
There were 3 opportunities today. The Washington Capitals were supposed to be eliminated with a regulation loss versus Pittsburgh, but they ended up shutting out Pittsburgh 3-0. So they're still alive. The other 2 scenarios, New York Islanders can be eliminated from contention tonight with a regulation loss versus Montreal and an overtime loss versus Montreal, and Washington gets a point, which Washington has had a point. So we'll have to see if they lose. Or if Columbus and Washington both win, New York is out. So we'll have to see what happens. Last time I checked, the Columbus score was 1-1. So, and it is still 1-1. They're playing the Bruins right now. And then the Anaheim Ducks, they can clinch tonight with a win over Vancouver in any fashion. I would say that's going to be easy for them, but Vancouver, again, they're a cockroach that just won't die. So if Vancouver, who's been out of the playoffs for about a month now, I mean, they would do everything to win tonight just to keep Anaheim out. So I really need Anaheim to clinch their spot, though, because I'd like to make my bracket sooner rather than later before I have to go back to school. And I can't do that if the entire thing isn't set. So anyway, those are the clinching scenarios for tonight. We're getting really close to having the full bracket done. I'm really excited.
So, question: what do you think are honestly the chances of my Caps, making it?
It's hard because the teams looking for that last spot in the Metropolitan are only like 1 or 2 points apart. So it's complicated because Philadelphia is sitting in that spot right now, but the reason they haven't clinched the playoffs yet is because Washington's only 1 point behind them with 1 game left, and CBJ is 2 points behind them with 2 games left, including the one they're playing right now. So if CBJ were to play tonight, or if were to win tonight, they wouldn't take over Philadelphia's spot, but they would have the same amount of points. So if Columbus loses tonight, Washington has a better chance than they would if Columbus wins. So it's going to come down to the wire because Philadelphia still has 2 games left and they're not playing tonight. So it'll really all depend on how the Flyers play against the Hurricanes tomorrow and how Columbus finishes against the Bruins tonight. But it's either going to be Philadelphia's, Columbus's, or Washington's, and it could go to any of those teams, to be honest. New York Islanders are still in, but like I said, they could be eliminated tonight. So we'll have to see. They're going to be like the E is chasing them. The E for elimination is chasing them. It's right up on them. So we'll have to see what happens, but they're making it difficult for me. Thankfully, Carolina is a good team, but Philadelphia has their number. Carolina has not been able to beat Philadelphia very well this season. So we'll have to see what happens tomorrow. If Philadelphia wins tomorrow, I think they can clinch tomorrow. So it all comes down to tomorrow. If Philadelphia clinches, CBJ is done, Washington is done, New York is done.
Okay. Well, We wish the Caps the best.
You
Hopefully,
wish the Caps the best.
hopefully they'll make it.
I say if the Capitals make it into the playoffs, I just hope Ryan Leonard and Anthony Beauvillier and Cole Hudson and Dylan Strom and all the players that I like, even though I don't like the team. I mean, it's hard. The team is so endearing. It's hard to hate them, but I feel like it's
Yes,
my obligation
exactly.
to. They're so family in that locker room. It makes
Yes,
it
they
really hard
are.
not to like them.
They are.
It's
Yes.
fine.
And Alex Ovechkin's their grandpa. All right, let's switch lines. All right, let's shift lines and let's go talk about Cole Caufield.
Cole Caufield.
Actually, no, wait a minute. We didn't talk about the President's Trophy.
Oh yeah. Unfortunately for all the Colorado Avalanche fans out there, including myself, Colorado Avalanche have officially won the President's Trophy, which means they have secured home ice advantage until playoffs is over. Their playoffs is over. Unfortunately for them, there's something called the President's Trophy curse, which I've talked about quite a few times on here. I wish that it wasn't Colorado that had won that, because the President's Trophy curse, if you have never heard of it before, basically means a team that has won the President's Trophy has not won the Stanley Cup since Detroit won a long time ago in the early 2000s. So it's been a very long time since we've seen a team that's won the President's Trophy win the Cup. So it's sad, but it's true. Colorado has had a very strong season, but I don't know if they're going to win the President or win the Stanley Cup this year anymore because of this. I'm not putting my money on them anymore, because I would love for them to be the one who breaks the curse, because I would love for Colorado to win, but the likelihood of that happening is very small. So sad.
Yeah, it is sad. Update on the Bruins. Blue Jackets. Bruins are up 2-1.
Who scored?
I don't know.
Oh, I'll find.
With 19 seconds left in second period. All right, now let's talk about Cole Caufield's 50th career goal. What you got about that?
Cole Caufield. Okay, so I've talked about Cole Caufield before. I talked about how he was robbed, being left off of Team USA's roster. He, first of all, went to the University of Wisconsin, who played in the Frozen Four championship yesterday. But he has been underestimated and lost. Yes, has been underestimated his entire career because of his height, but also because he just wasn't ever considered a top player. He was in the same friend group, like Jack Hughes, and Cole Caufield. Wait, no, Jack Hughes, and Trevor Zegras, sorry, are a little threesome, little trio. But he was never held to the same standard as Jack, but like even Trevor Zegras. And I just think that's so terrible, because at the beginning of his career, which is really not that long ago, he had injury after injury, shoulder problems, all that kind of stuff, but he was still consistently putting up pretty high scoring seasons. Recently, though, especially in these last two seasons, so 24, 25, 23, 24, he has really pushed to give himself a bigger name. He's consistently scored really, really well. And he's small and fast. So he's assisting on goals, but he's also getting into alleys that taller, bigger guys can't get into. So, but he's had a phenomenal season this season altogether. But reaching 50 goals is huge, not only because, it's something that not a lot of players do over the course of the season, but also because it's kind of a slap to everybody in the face who ever underestimated him. So he scored on April 9th at home, thankfully at home, because Montreal, the center belt, it was rocking. They were so happy for him. They loved that kid over there. It was against the Tampa Bay Lightning. All 50 goals were scored with the goalie in the net, which is insane. No empty net goals counted. And he is the 7th player in Canadiens history to do this. He's the first since the 1989-1990 season. He reached 50 goals in 78 games, which is a new career high for him in goals and points. It's just, I'm very happy for him. He definitely deserved that, especially after being left off the roster for Team USA. I think he would have been a huge, I know they won gold, but I think next time they need to consider, like, hey, maybe adding another really good goal scorer, I know.
Yeah.
But very huge for him. I'm very happy for him. It was a very big accomplishment.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to stay with the Canadiens?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick Suzuki, Uri Slafkovsky, that's their core. Like the Montreal or not Montreal, Toronto Maple Leafs had Austin Matthews, William Nylander, Mitch Marner. That was a trio that management made fall apart. Management in Montreal is doing really well with that young core. So, and on top of that, they have a ton of other young guys, Lane Hudson and Alex Newhook, all that kind of stuff. All those people who fit really well with that team. So I don't see any reason why Cole Caufield would ever leave. Shout out Kirby Doc too. Love Kirby Doc.
Unfortunately, Kenzie, there have been some serious injuries in NHL. Two of the more notable ones are Frank Nazar and Jared Bednar. Now, one is funnier than the other. So let's talk about Frank first. What happened to Frank Nazar?
Yesterday, Frankie Nazar was smacked on the face with a puck, unfortunately, in the same exact spot where he broke his jaw just a couple of months ago.
Oh,
He came back from that injury in January, so it really hasn't been that long. He was very mad, threw his equipment on the
yeah, I
ground,
bet.
skated right off. Thankfully, we have an update. They avoided the worst. All he needed was a little bit of dental work. So I just have a feeling they might put him in a cage for a little while, which he just got out of the cage. But glad to hear he's okay. It was really, I mean, Chicago season is done. So I think they might actually, I'm assuming they'll probably seat him for the rest of the season because they only have 2 games left. But for his sophomore season, his first full season in NHL, it was a fantastic season. Even though was riddled with injury, and Chicago's got a great one in the future when he stops getting smacked in the face with the puck. But it's unfortunate. I mean, it was never that common, but now I feel like people are getting hit in the face with the puck all the time. Um, Shout out Charlie McAvoy. Oh.
And then the Colorado Avalanche put out a statement on Twitter the other day yesterday or today, that their NHL coach Jared Bednar was hit in the face, but not the way you think. What happened to him?
I mean, he was just on the bench.
Yeah.
He was
How does
just
that
on the
happen?
bench. Well, it actually happens a lot. I mean, it's happened a lot this season. People have been hit in the face. It's just a flying puck that went over the bench, and Jared Bednar did not see it coming. So he's fine. I think he was taken to the hospital to get a CT scan. Okay, fine, maybe not. He suffered some facial fractures and a corneal abrasion, but he doesn't have to have surgery. He's not going to go on with the Avalanche on their 2 game road trip, but he will be fine for the playoffs. Unfortunate situation, a very, very freak accident. But it was very unfortunate. It was sad. I was like, okay,
I can't imagine
it had to
just
hurt.
being standing there and just all of a sudden, boom,
Yep,
your face.
yep.
Oh my gosh! I think they got to have the coaches wear helmets too.
Apparently,
That require them. Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go and talk about the Frozen Four. Do you have an update for us?
yeah, I do. So
Okay.
I know, I knew in my heart that Michigan was not going to win because I've seen them. I've been a Michigan hockey fan since I was in 8th grade, so 2017, for Quinn Hughes' first season. And I have time and time again watched them have this powerful team, this team that you cannot defeat, and then they get all the way to the Frozen Four, and always, always, always the semifinals, always the semifinals, taken down, done, lose. It's very sad, but it is very common. And it's just in sports, there are statistics. I love statistics. I'm a very statistical girl. I know that the Carolina Hurricanes are a good hockey team. I know that they're a good playoff team, but I know that they're probably not going to win the Stanley Cup because they can't win an Eastern Conference final game. I know that the Colorado Avalanche are a great team. I know that they've had a dominant season. I know that they've been in first place since November, but they're probably not going to win the Stanley Cup because of the President's Trophy curse. There are just certain things that even good teams can't get past sometimes. And for Michigan, it's the semifinals. So despite this, I held on to a little bit of hope, stayed up until 1:30 in the morning because they went to 2 overtimes just for them to lose. It was anyway. So Michigan lost against Denver again in the semifinals. And then earlier on, this was Thursday. Earlier Thursday, North Dakota was taken down by Wisconsin. So Michigan number one, North Dakota number two were taken down by two unranked teams, and those two unranked teams went to the finals yesterday. It was a sloppy game at the beginning. Denver did not play very well. I had Denver winning. Denver has always been a fantastic playoff team. Um, they played very sloppy to start, but their freshmen stood on their heads and got them the win. They beat Wisconsin yesterday, 2-1. It's their 11th national title in franchise history. Their third time in 5 years. Their most recent win was in 2024 when Michigan lost again in the semifinals. That time to Boston College. And freshman Johnny Hicks, the goalie, he was 15-0-1 in 16 starts this year. He won MVP of the game, rightfully so. So huge for them, but sad for me. What did come out of it, though, unfortunately, Michigan season is over, and this is the last of Team 101 that we're going to have. But TJ Hughes did get a call. He has officially signed a contract with the Colorado Avalanche.
My second favorite Hughes guy. Hughes
Who's your
brother.
first favorite?
Mrs. Hughes.
Yes, Ellen, that's a great choice. He signed a 1-year contract with the Colorado Avalanche starting in the next season. So this season, he'll report to the Colorado Eagles, which is their AHL team, where his former teammate Gavin Brindley currently plays. So huge for the Blueniverse. So happy for them. Us. I'm part of the Blueniverse. I'm the creator of the Blueniverse. We are waiting to hear about other Michigan players, Luca Fantilli specifically, Tyler Duke specifically. So if you're the GM of the Tampa Bay Lightning, Brisbois, I need you to get on the phone, call Tyler Duke's manager. If you are the GM of the Columbus Blue Jackets, I need you to get on the phone, call Luca Fantilli's manager, agent. So yeah, huge for TJ Hughes. Very happy for him. He was a fantastic captain this season. Very sad that their time at Michigan, Luca, Tyler, all of them is over, but I'm very glad to see where they're going to go in the future. And the loss, it hurts just as bad, but I got over it a lot quicker because this is my 8th time dealing with it. So whatever. Happy for Denver. Do like the Pios. So
Time definitely heals all wounds. So do you think that TJ is going to be called up next year, or this year?
Not this year. Next year for sure. But depending, we'll see how he does in training camp.
Okay, I got you. And then Hobie Baker.
Yes. Speaking of TJ Hughes.
Yes, speaking of TJ Hughes.
Well, yes. So the Hobie Baker Awards were last night. Hobie Baker is the best college athlete in the NCAA, like the all around. TJ Hughes was a finalist. Unfortunately, he did not win, but the guy who did win, very deserving, I think. His name is Max Plant. He is a Detroit Red Wings prospect and a Minnesota Duluth sophomore. He is the 7th Hobie Baker winner for Minnesota Duluth, and he's the first since 2020. No school has more Hobie wins than Duluth, but Michigan has quite a few, I will say. Anyway, he has had a very impressive sophomore season. He is tied for second among NCAA players and third in points in 40 games. And he is tied for third in game-winning goals. He has 6 of those.
So no school has more Hobie Baker winners than University of Minnesota Duluth?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
That's... Yeah.
Okay, cool. I didn't know anything about Hobie Baker winners, so that's pretty awesome.
Yes, at the same time as the Hobie Baker Awards, the Hockey Humanitarian Award is given out, and the girl who won that, one of my friends knows, grew up with her. She told me that. I was like, first of all, extremely jealous.
Pretty cool.
Because in class on Friday, she was telling me all about these people that she grew up with, including but not limited to Luke Glendening being her literal neighbor. If he went to Michigan, he played for the Devils, now plays for the Flyers. But yeah, no, her friend Meg Simon won. Shout out Meg, Hockey Humanitarian Award. Great job. Very prestigious honor. But when she was telling me all this, I was like, because she grew up in Michigan. Never been more jealous of anybody ever because I want to be friends with these people. So I was like, what are you doing down at the University of Georgia when you could be at the University of Michigan? I love the University of Georgia. I bleed red and black, but I also scream go blue, red, white, and go blue. So I was like, you can get in-state tuition to that school. Plus, she's pre-med. So Michigan Medical School is fantastic. Although I guess like their likelihood to take in an in-state student versus an out-of-state student is different. Anyway, that's a tangent, but I'm jealous for her. Congratulations to Meg Simon though for the Hockey Humanitarian Award, and to Max Plant for the Hopi Baker.
You got into Michigan, so
You did twice,
twice. And here you are at the University of Georgia.
and I love the University of Georgia. Go Dogs! But I also love
Michigan
State. Yeah, there you go.
All right. Lastly, we talked about Seattle's goalie situation. So you have an update for us?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not really an update. It's just something that happened yesterday that I thought was really funny. So Seattle, their AHL team, the Coachella Firebirds, posted on their Twitter, and they're like, "Okay, hey guys, so funny situation. Our goalie coach is going to be. We signed him to a temporary contract so that he could back up for us today because all of our goalies are up in Seattle. So it's like, why are all of their goalies up in Seattle? Usually it's just one. So I looked into that more. All three of Seattle's goalies were unavailable yesterday to play. I don't know what was going on, but all three of them were unavailable. So they had both of the Coachella Firebirds goalies up. Therefore, the goalie coach became the emergency backup goalie. He signed the contract, and they didn't have to like resort to that. But I thought it was pretty funny. It was a very ironic situation. But Nicholas Coco, he had his first NHL start yesterday. And he had a fantastic performance. He secured a 4-1 win over the Calgary Flames. Stood on his head pretty much. I just put away his rookie card, his young guns card. But so yeah, it's a funny situation I haven't heard of very often. You have just random goalie situations sometimes, like the time the Carolina Hurricanes had to play the Toronto Maple Leafs Zamboni driver, and the Toronto Maple Leafs Zamboni driver beat the Toronto Maple Leafs. So it's just really funny when things like that have to happen. I hope all of Seattle's goalies are okay. Joey Decord is one of my favorite players, but yeah, it was just a very ironic situation. I thought it was hilarious.
That is pretty ironic. All right, buddy, you have anything else to add?
I don't think so.
Okay, let's do 3 rapid fire questions before we leave. Okay, so Jared Bednar takes a puck in the face while sitting on the bench. Is that a start of the President's Trophy curse, or
you know what?
Deeper than that?
It's not a coincidence. They secured that thing, and then all of a sudden their coach gets hit in the face on the bench. Maybe it is. I don't know. God protect Cale Makar, who's not even playing right now because he's injured. So God protect Gabriel Landeskog. Oh my gosh, bubble wrap him.
Number 2, the Coachella Firebirds used their goalie coach as an emergency backup goalie. At what point do you just call your most athletic equipment manager?
At that point.
Shoot,
if they had to take the other Coachella Firebirds goalie, they would have probably needed the most athletic one. I would have taken one of my forwards. Fun fact, Elias Pettersson of the Vancouver Canucks played goalie when he was younger. So he could have stepped in if he were down there.
Oh, that's true.
Although he hasn't been doing much of anything recently, so I don't know if I trust him.
Oh, he hasn't?
Well, the $11 million contract, not money. Anyway.
All right. Detroit Red Wings go from first in the Atlantic in January to the longest active playoff drought in the league by April. Is that the worst collapse in recent NHL history, or do we need to give that title to somebody else?
I mean, I wouldn't consider that the worst collapse in NHL history. I mean, there have been a couple collapses just this season. Yeah, it's pretty bad. I wouldn't consider it the worst, but I think it's pretty bad. It's kind of embarrassing. But
last question: the President's Trophy curse. Let's go back to that. Does this mean that Colorado Avalanche get bounced in the first round?
First or second.
Oh, really?
I mean, Winnipeg made it to the second round last year, but they had a really rough first round. Like I said, they had to make that 3-goal comeback with less than a minute left in the third in game 7. So I think Colorado's a strong team. It's just going to depend on who they end up playing. I think they got round one, um, but round two could be a little bit more concerning. I really hope that if they get bounced, it is in round two, because if it is round three, they're most likely going to be up against the Oilers, and I need somebody there who I know can beat them.
Who do you think that would be?
Well, it would be Colorado if they hadn't won the President's Trophy, but I don't know. I'm really upset. I I have I don't
I
even know
mean,
if I
really,
have.
who's on the West that can beat the Oilers?
Well, I don't want. Okay, universe. I'm not saying anything. Okay, these are just words. They don't mean anything.
Yes, they don't.
Unfortunately, the Western Conference is a very strong one. Okay, but the way things have, especially the Central Division with Colorado, Minnesota, and Dallas. Unfortunately, Colorado with the President's Trophy, I think they would be the only ones who could do it. But if they're bounced in the second round, they're out. And Dallas and Minnesota are going up against each other in the first round. So, and I have a sneaking suspicion that Dallas is going to be the one to come out of that. But if we look at the last two seasons specifically, it's been Dallas, Edmonton in the Western Conference Finals, and Edmonton's beat them every time. So, statistically, there is not a single soul in the Western Conference that could beat Edmonton, despite the fact that Edmonton is going to go into the playoffs with the lowest amount of points. So, that my theory as of right now, if the playoffs were to start today, I, honest to God, unless the Carolina Hurricanes can win an Eastern Conference game, think it's going to be Buffalo Edmonton in the Stanley Cup final, and I think Buffalo is going to win it all.
Oh my goodness, that'd be really nice.
Because Buffalo could beat Edmonton. Edmonton has cockiness on their side, and nobody's going to expect Buffalo to perform well. Anyway, but I do fear that due to the way the Central Division has lined up, Edmonton's probably going to get to the finals again. And that's going to make me really upset, because nobody understands how stressful it is. Unless you hate a team as much as I hate that team, you don't understand how stressful it is to imagine them winning it all, especially when it's the finals. Anyway, I don't want to deal with that again. I've had to deal with that so many
This is
times.
when we need the Panthers back in the
Oh God,
playoffs.
no. I'm very pleased to see them
They're the
go.
only ones that be able to beat them.
I don't know, man. A three-peat, that's kind of hard. So
Yeah,
that's why I mean, it could be Dallas's year. They can't possibly be taken down again. I don't know. We'll have to see. It's all up to fate.
Dallas is pretty strong. I have a feeling Minnesota is going to take care of Dallas.
I don't know. Well, I mean, we'll have to see. I think it's going to go to 7 games. I think it'll be a 7-game.
That's going to be a great series. That is going to be absolutely.
It's going to be
fantastic.
messy for sure. It's just I fully believe it's going to come down to goaltending at the end of the day.
Yes,
because both teams have decent amount of goal scorers. So both teams could put up 7 goals in a game. It's just going to depend on how many goals Jake Ottinger, and I'm thinking Jesper Wallstedt's going to be their starter. Jesper Wallstedt can keep out. But next episode, next Sunday, we're going to have, because playoffs start Saturday, but we'll make our brackets and we'll talk about it next Sunday. Because this is going to be a really weird playoffs, just considering what teams and where they are. These terrible teams have now made it to the top of their divisions. Like, they're going to be playing these historically good playoff teams. It's going to be really fun. But as of right now, I don't see anybody getting to take down Edmonton. It's just not.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to have to wait and see what happens. All right, Kinsey, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Peanut Gallery. A wild night across the NHL, a Frozen Four champion crowned in Denver, and a goalie coach stealing the show in the AHL. Honestly, this sport never gets boring. If you enjoyed the show, drop us a rating and review wherever you're listening. It means everything and helps us grow. Also, subscribe and share the pod with a fellow sports fan who needs someone to break all of this down with them. And we'll be back next year. We'll be back next week as the playoff picture comes into full focus. Until then, stay in the peanut gallery, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, Kenzie. You're awesome. Again, your amount of wealth of knowledge just fascinates me. And I'll see you next Sunday. Bye.